So you have a name that is fairly iconic, at least to people my age. Does everyone know this? Yeah, do people, out of total curiosity, do people who are 20 years old actually know that name?
Not at all.
They don't at all. So this
No.
is very much a like 45 and older kind of thing, right?
Yeah, when I was like 3 or 5, and people were like, "Oh my God, but you're no Clark Gable." I'm like, "Who is he? Sesame Street? Like, where's Clark Gable?" I don't know.
Right, right. So your contemporaries, they didn't like your classmates or they don't ever know what that name is either, do
Oh
they?
no, they thought I was like forgetting the B, or they're like, "You mean rat?" I'm like, "My mother wouldn't name me after a rodent." No understanding of Gone with the Wind. Didn't know who Margaret Mitchell was. They probably thought she was a grocery store owner. If I would have said, "You ever heard of Margaret Mitchell? Does she give us
Yeah.
stuff at the bodega?" So my mom is very different in that way, and she kind of thought ahead. But no, nobody knew. I didn't even know. It took me until like I was 25 to watch the movie, mainly because I realized it was almost 4 hours, and I'm like, I don't have that kind of time.
No. Especially not when it's really not about you. So, since it's not, what was the story there? Why did your mom pick that name?
So, my mother is a very interesting person. She's very corporate minded, and she has a lot of forethought. So, in her mind, my name gives a sort of like neutrality that would be beguiling to headhunters in the future. And at the end of the day, she knew my last name was Butler, and she's kind of a slight sensationalist in that she was like, "Hey, why not?" But then at the same time, she was like, "Well, when his resume is in front of people, it'll be on the top of the pile because they're gonna be like, 'Oh my God, there's somebody named Rhett Butler. What does he look like? Who is he? What does he do?'" Like, so she kind of looked at it with the forethought of he's gonna seem intriguing, which was smart. Like my mom's one of these people. She thinks that way. She's always thinking about a job scenario. It's always my life was framed in terms of how I was going to be recruited in any capacity, educationally or job wise. So
But when you told the story about your mom, the thing that really struck me is here is a person who has this new person that's hours old, and your mom is thinking about how to make sure you have a job, how to make sure you don't get passed over, how to
right,
make sure that you have the best shot at surviving and functioning in a world
absolutely,
that may not want you there necessarily, and you have to have an angle to get in, and you're this big,
yeah,
and this is what's going through her head.
right,
I can't imagine anybody in my world actually having that. The name is part of a strategy for a lifelong battle.
absolutely,
That blew
absolutely.
my mind.
Yeah, I mean, it took me maturing a lot to understand that. I used to feel guilty just for being named Rhett, for being intriguing to people who, when they found out I was a black guy, were like, "Oh my God," it was like this cute, kitschy thing for them. And it was weird for me because I had friends named Raheem, Kwame, whatever, and there was no cute kitschiness at all. It was just like
Ah.
instant stigmatized. And I'm just trying to survive. Especially like in New York during that time, I just don't want to get beat up every day or like singled out as like a dweeb or just it was crazy. So I had to. It was just crazy.
Yeah.
So I lived off nicknames. I used to chew the gum Big Red a lot. So they used to call me Big Red. Then somebody called me a pretty boy one time, so my name became Pretty. Even let's roll with that. Girls think it's cute, but Rhett Butler, yeah, I'm all right.